A man is killed in an industrial accident at the airport. 4 men are arrested over a diamond trading operation involving $500 million. And a look inside a Hamas tunnel in Gaza. Hello and welcome to TVB News. A 33-year-old man died in an industrial accident at an airport ground support engineering company in Cheklapkok this afternoon. The airport authority expressed deep regret over the victim's death, adding that it has asked the engineering company to file an investigative report. This marks the latest fatality among the more than 70 deadly work accidents across Hong Kong this year. Jackie Lin with more.
The Fire Services Department deployed a disaster response and rescue team to the site, along with heavy-duty machinery for the rescue efforts. Medical workers from Northern Lantau Hospital also reached the building. The tragedy happened at around 1 p.m. in the building of an airport ground support engineering company on Catering Road West. A worker lost consciousness after being trapped underneath a collapsed work platform, reportedly around 1 to 2 meters above ground. The man was certified dead at the site. That's after his body was taken from under the machinery, which weighs about 10 tons. It's understood the welder was cutting a movable baggage loader, which would be handed to recycling companies. But the elevated platform collapsed, falling on top of him. Lau Ka-lok, executive member of the Association for the Rights of Industrial Accident Victims, said they have seen incidents involving elevated work platforms before, but it is less common for accidents to happen during the dismantling process. Lau cited sources that this time the victim was working on the ground near the hinge of the work platform before it collapsed onto him. Lee Kwang-sing, a safety advisor from the Hong Kong Construction Industry Employees General Union, said there are no set safety guidelines yet on the demolition or dismantling procedures for recycling. Apart from using hydraulic devices to prop up the platform, there should be wooden structures to bolster support, which was likely lacking this time, Lee said. Lee added there should be one more designated worker responsible for safety checks to prevent such accidents from happening again. Jackie Lin, TVB News.
The Association for the Rights of Industrial Accident Victims said as of Wednesday there had been 27 industrial accidents this year, which led to 28 deaths. 25 of the casualties came from the construction sector. 13 fatalities involved falling from a height or off-the-ground accidents. 5 deaths were related to lifting operations. 3 workers were killed by electrocution. During the heavy rainstorm in early September, a security guard and a repair worker were swept by the deluge. While the government has increased occupational safety penalties and inspections at construction sites in recent months, the victims' rights group said that's not effective enough. The association said for construction companies, their past record of accidents should be included as a criteria during tendering processes for government projects. The group said that would be a more efficient way to motivate companies to put more importance to occupational safety. 4 people were arrested over money laundering in a case which involved $500 million and a transnational diamond trading operation. These are the artificial diamonds seized by the Customs and Excise Department in their operation last week. Officers said they exchanged intelligence with Indian counterparts early this year. In a joint investigation, the authorities say they found a syndicate that had established diamond trading companies in Hong Kong and India. The syndicate was found to trade diamonds between the SAR and India 130 times in 2021. The group was also alleged to have been exporting synthetic diamonds with low value, but claimed they were expensive natural diamonds. The 4 suspects, aged between 30 and 56, have been released on bail. 3 members of the returning Valiant group pleaded guilty to charges, including conspiracy to cause explosions in court and other public places. The 3 are Ho Yu Wang, Kwok Man Hei, and Chung Ho Young. They were members of a pro-independence group. The 3 were accused of planning to bomb public facilities in the city to threaten the SAR government or the central government. The trio have been sentenced to between 2.5 and 6 years in prison. Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan compared Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to Adolf Hitler. Erdogan drew likenesses between Israel's strikes on Gaza and the Nazis' treatment of the Jews in World War II. Netanyahu responded by saying Erdogan is the last person who should be preaching morality to others, as he committed genocide against Kurds and imprisons journalists. Meanwhile, the Israeli military are continuing to expand operations in the south of Gaza. David Garrett reports.
Hospitals in places like Khan Yunis continue to receive daily casualties. The World Health Organization said its staff had seen thousands fleeing strikes nearby. Firefighters tackle a blaze after an airstrike in central Gaza. The Gaza Health Ministry said at least 20 were killed here, with 50 dead overall in the last 24 hours. It could add to the 80% of Gazans that have been displaced. One of the striking images suggesting a broadening offensive is the emptying of refugee camps in central Gaza. There were 90,000 here, but that has dropped by a third, according to the UN. For those who can, they have left areas in central Gaza to move to safer camps in the south. Israel say they target such areas to root out Hamas. Rather than scaling down, Israel's own war cabinet is talking about upping activity. The minister of the war cabinet, Benny Gantz, said Israel have eliminated thousands of terrorists and they need to turn it up and continue. He also warned Hezbollah as fighting on the Lebanon border continues. With more than 20,000 Palestinians already killed in Gaza, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan compared Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel to Adolf Hitler and the Nazis. What difference do you have from Hitler? Erdogan asked. They will make us long for Hitler. Is there anything different in Netanyahu's actions compared to Hitler's? No. With over 100 hostages still missing in Gaza, families of those held gathered at Tel Aviv airport to remind those coming to and leaving Israel. The location for the rally was poignant for this father whose son was abducted from the Supernova concert by Hamas.
Hirsch has a one-way ticket to go traveling around the world. This is a trip that he's been planning for a long time, he's been dreaming about for a long time. He's unfortunately not going to be taking off on the trip today, but we are hoping and praying that he's going to take off on this trip soon.
His family would give anything to get Hirsch home safely. David Garrett, TVB News.
With Israeli forces now in control of much of Gaza, they have found numerous tunnels used by Hamas. This report from NBC News.
We start our journey into Gaza at Erez Crossing, the border checkpoint ransacked by Hamas on October 7th, now in shambles. Entering northern Gaza on foot, the sounds of gunfire ricochet across the desert. As we pass a vast wasteland of mangled steel and concrete blocks, tanks rolling by, and the hum of Israeli drones overhead.
The Gustons call them mosquitoes, and they are a daily reminder that everyone here is being watched.
The Israeli military has brought us here to see what it says is evidence of how Hamas has burrowed itself into Gaza's population.
You've got reinforced concrete. They have electrical wires. There is plumbing overhead. I'm about 5'8", and you can see this goes way above my head, so it's probably about 10 feet tall.
NBC News can't verify what this tunnel was used for or when. But Israel is under increasing pressure to prove its allegations about Hamas, especially after its deadly onslaught at Gaza's largest hospital last month. Several independent analyses later raised questions about Israel's claim that Hamas had command and control facilities deep underground.
Showing these tunnels to the media, is this an effort to justify incredible numbers of Palestinian deaths?
I think this is an effort to justify the fact that we have no choice but to be in Gaza fighting Hamas, and that those civilians were condemned the moment that Hamas built these tunnels underneath them.
Tonight, the war fueling tensions across the region. An attack drone launched against U.S. forces in Iraq. Hezbollah saying it launched 30 rockets at Israel's northernmost city. And yet more airstrikes in Khan Yunis, Gaza's second largest city. Josh Letterman, NBC News, the Gaza Strip.
In the U.S., Colorado's ballot ban on Donald Trump for engaging in insurrection is being challenged in the Supreme Court by the state's Republican Party. Colorado's highest court banned Trump from running in next year's election after his involvement in the Capitol riots of 2021. A 4-3 vote of their top justices upheld a rarely used Constitution amendment. The U.S. Supreme Court has never ruled on this before. Trump's legal team said they are planning an appeal as well. Still ahead, Beijing announces major plan for the Greater Bay Area. Russian President Vladimir Putin building closer ties with India. Former European Commission President Jacques Delore dies. Welcome back to TVB News. The State Council has passed 4 development plans for the Greater Bay Area, which aim to promote a world-leading business environment and improve regional connectivity. They include closer ties and business cooperation between Hong Kong and 2 mainland cities, Shanghai and Hengqin. Jackie Lin with more.
One centerpiece document that sets out the development blueprint is the 3-year action plan for the development of an international first-class business environment in the Greater Bay Area. More details were unveiled in a National Development and Reform Commission press conference. They include promoting the market integration of the Greater Bay Area through fostering more open environments in business, legal frameworks, and government administration. Also offered are solutions tailored to issues raised by enterprises. Guo Lanfeng, a member of the leadership group of the National Development and Reform Commission, said, "Without a first-class business environment, there's no way we can talk about a first-class Bay Area or city cluster." For the Qianhai Overall Development Plan, the National Economic Planner has proposed promoting the district's leading role to deepen cooperation between Hong Kong and Shenzhen, including in the modern services industry. Also speaking at the press conference, Hong Kong's Chief Secretary for Administration, Eric Chan, he said the plans hold great significance for both Hong Kong and the mainland. Chan said the plan could further cement Hong Kong's role as an international financial center and position as an intermediary for the two-way flow of capital, while providing support for the further opening up of the mainland market. Shenzhen Mayor Qin Wei-zhong said the city will continue to facilitate Hong Kong residents in their business registrations, professional practices, and entrepreneurial ventures. The Development Commission also looks set to relax the rules for Hong Kong and Macau residents to work in Hengqin. Jackie Lin, TVB News.
The Agriculture, Fisheries and Conservation Department said 1,100 pigs will be culled within a week. This after more of the animals were tested for African swine virus in Hong Kong. The cases were uncovered at a pig farm in San Tin, Yuen Long, during an AFCD inspection. The farm holds a proper license, but 20 among the 25 pigs tested there were detected to carry the African swine fever virus. Authorities said they received no reports of abnormalities or outbreaks at other pig farms within 3 kilometers of its vicinity. The AFCD added the African swine fever virus won't infect human beings and it doesn't cause food safety risks. Pork cooked thoroughly is safe for consumption. And a correction earlier in the NBC story on tunnels in Gaza. The correct quote from the Israeli soldier is Israeli forces were fighting Hamas. Meantime, Russian President Vladimir Putin hailed the growth in trade turnover with India as he met with New Delhi's foreign minister in Moscow. Speaking during the meeting with Indian Foreign Minister Subramanyam Jaishankar, Putin said the growth in trade between the two nations over the last 9 months had already exceeded the entire growth of last year. India's foreign minister said bilateral trade turnover had exceeded $50 billion. He also confirmed that Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi planned to visit Russia next year. An agreement was signed between the two countries in the nuclear sector, which would take a nuclear power project in India forward. India is increasingly important to Russia as a market for oil exports, the backbone of its economy, as Western sanctions curtail oil shipments. Former European Commission President Jacques Delore, a founding father of the European Union's historic single currency project, died on Wednesday at the age of 98. Daniel Rowell takes a look at the life and legacy of the Frenchman, who is one of the EU's most influential politicians.
Former European Commission President Jacques Delore's daughter Martine Aubry, the socialist mayor of the French city of Lille, told AFP that her father died in his sleep at his Parisian home. French President Emmanuel Macron paid tribute to his compatriot as an inexhaustible architect of our Europe and a fighter for human justice. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said Jacques Delors was a visionary who made Europe stronger. Delors was a rarity in French public life. He was a self-made man from a working-class home who did not come up through the grande école or prestigious schools. Instead, he took night school classes in economics. Between 1981 and 1984, he served as France's finance minister under President François Mitterrand before Mitterrand and German Chancellor Helmut Kohl tapped him to run the EU's executive branch. Delors, an advocate of post-war European integration, served as president of the European Commission for 3 terms, longer than any other holder of the office, from January 1985 until the end of 1994. During Delors' decade as European Commission chief, the EU completed its integrated single market and agreed to introduce a single currency and build a common foreign and security policy. The then 12-nation bloc also set the conditions on his watch for eventually admitting the ex-communist states of Central and Eastern Europe after the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989. Delors, a staunch federalist, was a passionate defender of a closer European Union. He frequently clashed with Britain's then Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, who vigorously pushed back against any shift of power to Brussels. Federalists still warn that planned further enlargement, perhaps as far east as Ukraine, risks bringing decision-making to a grinding halt if deeper reforms are not enacted. Nevertheless, Delors at the time expressed pride in the EU's record of spreading peace, prosperity, democracy and the rule of law on a continent scarred by decades of war, dictatorship and atrocities. Delore, TV News.
Guston Glock, the Austrian developer of the handgun that bears his name, died on Wednesday. He was 94 years old. The Glock company announced his death. Glock, an engineer, founded the company in 1963 in Deutsche Wagram near Vienna. It has since expanded around the world, including a U.S. subsidiary founded in 1985. Glock handguns are used by police and some countries' military forces, as well as private customers. The weapon was significantly lighter, cheaper, and more reliable than other models available when it was created. However, it has also been blamed for gun violence. In New York, a new lighting display pattern for the Times Square New Year's Eve ball has been unveiled just days before the iconic celebration. This year's celebratory design features a bow tie pattern created in partnership with Fontainebleau Las Vegas. That's a luxury resort and casino that opened on the Strip earlier this month. It is a tribute to when Times Square used to be known as the bow tie. The New Year's Eve ball is covered with nearly 2,700 crystal triangles that vary in size. It weighs over 5,300 kilograms. That's the news. Thanks for watching. Good night.